Welcome to Storycraft Porta, where every story takes an unexpected turn. If you love real-life crime and shocking stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon because today's story will leave you stunned. A wife who mourns her husband's death, writes a book to help others cope with grief, and gains sympathy from the world. But what no one knew was that the same woman who preached about healing was the one who took his life. Can greed and ambition make someone so heartless? This is the chilling story of Kouri Richins, a tale of love, betrayal, and a deadly game that will shake you to the core. Kouri and Eric Richins appeared to have it all. A beautiful home, 3 loving children, and a life many would envy. Eric was a successful businessman, a devoted father, and the kind of man who put his family above everything. Kouri, always smiling for the world, played the role of a perfect wife. But behind the laughter and family photos, something dark lurked beneath the surface. Eric had started feeling uneasy, as if a shadow was following him. He confided in close friends, saying he feared for his life, but no one could have imagined the storm that was coming. On a quiet night in March, everything changed forever. Kouri called 911, her voice shaking with panic. Eric was unresponsive, his body cold. As the world grieved with her, no one suspected that the woman shedding tears was the same one who had planned his death all along. As paramedics arrived, Kouri sobbed uncontrollably, clutching her chest as if her heart had shattered. She told them she had brought Eric a drink to celebrate a business deal, only to find him cold and lifeless hours later. Friends and family rushed to her side, believing she was a devastated widow left alone with 3 children. At the funeral, she held their sons close, whispering reassurances through her tears. But if anyone had looked closely, they would have seen it, the absence of true grief in her eyes. While others mourned, Kouri was already making moves. Days after Eric's death, she met with real estate agents, pushing to close a multi-million-dollar deal. What kind of widow thinks of money while her husband's body is still warm in the ground? No one knew it yet, but the grieving wife was not grieving at all. She was celebrating her perfect crime. In the days following Eric's death, sympathy poured in from all sides. Friends brought meals, neighbors offered help, and Kouri played her part perfectly, thanking everyone with teary eyes and trembling hands. But behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to form. Eric's family couldn't shake a terrible feeling. Just weeks before his death, he had confided in them, saying, "If something happens to me, it's Kouri." They had thought he was being paranoid, but now those words haunted them. Why had Eric, a healthy man, suddenly died in his sleep? Why was Kouri so desperate to finalize real estate deals? And why did she seem more concerned with money than mourning? As the funeral flowers wilted, so did the illusion of the grieving widow. Eric's family decided to dig deeper, unaware that the truth they were about to uncover would be darker than they ever imagined. The investigation into Eric's death was slow to start, as it appeared to be a natural cause. But the persistent whispers from Eric's family couldn't be ignored. They insisted on a toxicology report, something that seemed unnecessary to most. It was when the results came back that everything changed. Fentanyl, an opioid much stronger than morphine, was found in Eric's system. The same drug that had been making headlines for overdose deaths was now linked to his. At first, Kouri denied any involvement, claiming she had no idea how the drug got there. But as detectives dug deeper, they uncovered a shocking pattern. Kouri had been buying large quantities of fentanyl online just days before Eric's death. The pieces were starting to fit together, but Kouri's calm demeanor never wavered. She had planned everything meticulously, convinced she could fool everyone. But the walls were closing in, and the truth was becoming impossible to hide. As more evidence surfaced, the once perfect life Kouri had built began to crumble. The detectives discovered that Kouri had not only purchased fentanyl online, but she had also been in contact with multiple people involved in the drug trade. It became clear that this was not a crime of passion. It was a carefully calculated plan to get rid of her husband. The police learned that Kouri had taken out a large life insurance policy on Eric shortly before his death, ensuring that her financial future was secure. Yet, The most chilling discovery was the way Kouri had acted after Eric's death. She had immediately started planning her next steps, redecorating their home, and starting new business ventures. The grief she had shown was nothing more than a mask, hiding the cold, calculating woman beneath. As the investigation continued, Kouri's carefully constructed world started to collapse around her. The day finally came when Kouri was arrested. She sat in her lawyer's office, trying to maintain her composure as the police entered with the arrest warrant. The detectives had enough evidence now to charge her with first-degree murder. Despite the mounting proof, Kouri still maintained her innocence. She tried to convince everyone that it was just a tragic accident, that Eric had died from an overdose, and she had nothing to do with it. But the lies were unraveling, and her stoic demeanor was beginning to crack. As she was led out of her lawyer's office in handcuffs, the reality of her situation hit her. The woman who had once been seen as a grieving widow was now exposed for what she truly was, a cold-blooded killer. Her arrest was a moment of justice, but the road ahead would be long and painful. As Kouri's trial began, Eric's family and friends had to face the painful truth of what had happened. They had loved her, welcomed her into their family, and stood by her in her time of grief. The betrayal cut deep. They had always believed in the woman she showed the world, the wife who had lost the love of her life. But the reality was far more painful. Eric's mother, in tears, spoke about her son's kindness and how he had always tried to protect his family, even from those who were supposed to love him the most. Every day in the courtroom, the family was forced to relive the nightmare of Eric's death, but their pursuit of justice remained strong. They would not let Kouri's lies destroy the memory of the man they had lost. As the trial moved forward, the truth about Kouri's actions was slowly revealed to the world. Every detail of her carefully orchestrated plan came to light. How she had poisoned Eric over time with fentanyl, carefully timing his death to ensure the insurance payout would come through. The evidence was undeniable. The records of her fentanyl purchases, her multiple attempts to cover up her motives, and the testimonies from witnesses who revealed Kouri's chilling behavior in the days leading up to Eric's death. What shocked everyone the most was the revelation that Kouri had not just killed her husband for money. She had done it to start a new life, free of the man she saw as a burden. The courtroom was filled with gasps and sobs as the final pieces fell into place, and the world watched as Kouri's lies were torn apart. She had deceived everyone, but she could no longer escape the truth. After days of testimony and heart-wrenching evidence, the jury deliberated. The decision seemed inevitable, yet still, there was a heavy weight in the air. Kouri sat in silence, her once confident posture now deflated as she awaited the verdict. When the jury returned, they wasted no time. The judge's voice echoed through the courtroom, announcing the guilty verdict. Kouri Richins was found guilty of first-degree murder. Her face remained stoic, but her eyes revealed the crushing weight of what had just happened. The courtroom erupted in relief and anger, as Eric's family finally felt a sense of justice for the man they had loved. Kouri's future now lay in the hands of the court, and the consequences of her actions would follow her for the rest of her life. The perfect facade she had so carefully built was shattered, and the woman behind the mask was exposed for who she truly was. Kouri's sentencing was swift. The courtroom was filled with emotion as Eric's family finally had a chance to speak. His mother, once so hopeful and trusting of Kouri, stood tall and spoke about her son's kindness, his love for his children, and how much he had been taken from them. "Justice won't bring him back," she said through her tears, "but it will bring peace." Kouri was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As she was led away, her face was blank, her once promising future now reduced to a prison cell. The world would remember her as the woman who killed for money and freedom, a reminder that even the most perfect facades can hide the darkest secrets. Eric's family, though forever scarred, could finally begin to heal, knowing that justice had been served.